to the channel. So I did a little short the other day on my YouTube channel about a first look with vows, and I showed some clips of it, and I had a bride asking me that she really didn't feel the need to do that, and I wanted to do a video pinning a first look prior to the ceremony and the look from the groom seeing the bride the first time from the altar or from the ceremony site. There's pros and cons to both, and I'm going to address both of them. From a photographer's point of view, there really is no difference for me. It's just going to be a preference to you. So my job is to just make sure you understand the benefits of both. If you are the benefits of both. I've got a 45-minute drive. I'm going to Brimfield Flea Market today. So I had some time to just record and go over my thoughts with this. So with that being said, my job is just to educate. Pros and cons of both. Doing a first look with or without vows, or doing the traditional groom wedding couple seeing you from the coming down the aisle for the first time. So there's not one that's better than the other. It really is 100% up to the wedding couple. Meaning, you can have, if you feel like there's a little bit of anxiousness and anxiety, and you want to get the jitters out of the way, I recommend doing a first look with or without vows. Some people like to do it with the vows because it gives them a chance to not have their voices amplified by a microphone so that everybody hears all of the, sappy stuff, if I can say it like that. Some people like to keep it a little bit more on the down low, where they just let their significant other know that way. So the benefit of having a first look is, what we do is we find a nice quiet spot where there's no guests that are arriving or anything like that. We put the groom facing the opposite way. We have the bride come walk up behind them, tap them on. I give them full instructions along the way, right up into tap them on this shoulder, telling the wedding couple, groom, to turn that way. So if you tap on the left shoulder, you're going to turn in that direction. That way I get the movement of them turning because I'm on the left getting his face. If you do it the other way, you get the back of his head and you don't get the initial smiles, tearing, oohs and ahs and whatever. So the benefit to having a first look is you get to do it privately with nobody else around. You don't have to have anybody watching you. The photographer's there doing his job, which is what you need him to do. But at the same time, you want to make sure that there's nobody else around. Sometimes I always have maids of honors that would like to record it for them, and I have no problem with that. Once the mother-in-law and the mother and everybody else wants the wedding party, it gets too much, and they're aware of who's around them, and sometimes they will shell up a little bit more by doing that. So I always recommend not having people around for the sake of that. So if you do the vows and you get them to turn around, you see them for the first time, you see each other for the first time, there's that anxiety, there's that dopamine release, there's that joy, there's that, look him in the eyes, he looks you up and down, tells you how beautiful you are, you compliment him on his suit, so on and so forth. But then you have to turn around and decide if you're going to do vows. So sometimes people will do the vows so that they don't feel like I don't want to say overwhelmed, but they don't feel like they are, what's the word I want? When you do vows at the altar, there's a microphone there, so they're a little bit more amplified. So some people get a little bit shy with saying certain things. But at the same time, with a private vow and a private first look, you can still say those things without worrying about other people hearing you. And then it gets the jitters out of the way and so on and so forth. So that's the pro to doing that. Then we give ourselves enough time to go back and freshen up, hit the bathroom, and then get lined up and ready for the ceremony. So when you come walking down the aisle, and he's already at the end of the aisle, he's already seen you, so you're not going to get that reaction and response from him in front of everybody because you already got it prior to that. So that's the pro to that. The other pro to that is it gives you a chance to see each other prior to, whether it's a first touch, first kiss, first look, whatever it is, it's just the two of you guys, as it should be. So when it comes down to doing it at an aisle, again, pros and cons. I've heard many brides, which I don't recommend doing this, telling your fiance, you better cry or else I'm going to walk back up the aisle, or I'm not walking down until I see you cry. Don't do that, because it puts a little bit too much pressure on the groom at the end of the altar, because if he doesn't respond, everybody's watching him. There is a lot of pressure for the groom to be standing there knowing everybody's watching him see the bride for the first time at the end of the aisle. Some will crack, some will cry, some will fade, most don't. There is a door that tends to close, and everybody's 150 people watching them, they tend to not want to respond with a lot of waterworks and or a lot of emotion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying that's the individual's personality. So it is what it is when it comes to that. So you got to be aware that, fiance, you might not get the response that you think you're going to get. 150 people watching, there's less of a response. Then when you do your vows, everybody's hearing you say certain things about each other that are meant for just the two of you guys. So going back to recap, first look, with or without vows, you get the jitters out of the way, you get the anxiety out of the way, you get to see each other with nobody else around. He's going to respond with seeing you, with knowing nobody else is being around, tell you how beautiful you are, and then freshen up and then start the ceremony. Recapping, at the ceremony looks, you will not probably get the response that you're hoping for because 150 people are watching. But then again, you might, depending on the person. So you will still get a response from the crowd and from the guests that have just seen you for the first time. So that's also very important, that they see you for the first time. It's not just the groom that's seeing you for the first time, it's the guests that are seeing you for the first time. So you're still going to get, forgive me for saying it this way, the wow effect, that first response, you're still going to get that. So recapping the other one, it's good to do it ahead of time. You get the jitters out of the way, you get the vows out of the way, you can say things intimately between the two of you guys and nobody's listening. I recommend doing a recording of them, having a cell phone that somebody can record for you the audio and the video. I do that also, just so you have that. And then if you're going to go to the traditional way with coming down the aisle, there's nothing wrong with that either. So this is something you need to discuss with your fiance prior to the wedding. Like, I'm always having a phone call with my wedding couples 1 month prior to the wedding. I like to know then, because we have to add that into the itinerary. So you can't do that 15 minutes before the ceremony. You need to do it almost 45 minutes before the ceremony, because guests might be arriving, guests might be in the way, guests might see, and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that nobody's around when they're doing that. And then it gives you a chance to refresh, hit the bathrooms, grab a drink, and then get ready for the ceremony. So there's pros and cons to both. You just got to figure out which one best fits. So have that honest conversation with your fiance. How do you feel about first look, with or without vows? And how do you feel about traditionally not seeing me for the first time when I'm coming down the aisle? And then, technical difficulties. So as I was saying, and then respect the wishes of the other one. This is how I feel. I'm not sure if I'm going to like everybody seeing me for the first time coming down the aisle and the pressure of that. Or if they feel like that's what they want to do. But have an honest conversation with your wedding couple, as a wedding couple, saying, which do you prefer to do? Tell your photographer and your videographer 1 month prior, so we're prepared for picking a place to do the first look, picking a place to do it where no guests are going to be around, or being prepared for seeing, because I always have a second shooter with me, so knows to keep the camera on the groom the entire time. Like, I'm getting the bride coming down the aisle with her father, and I'm getting all the guests coming down the thing. As that groom is standing out there for the first time, waiting for his bride to come walking down, or wedding couple, whatever the case may be, my second shooter has eyes and lens on that groom the whole time. I don't care if it takes 5 minutes and you're still waiting. That lens does not come off of that groom at all whatsoever, just because you never know what kind of a response you're going to get. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. Have that honest conversation. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Well, I feel like this. I feel like that. And then compromise. Welcome to marriage. Compromise and make a decision based on both of your feelings, and then let your photographer and your videographer know. So, wedding couples on the fence between doing a first look and or the traditional seeing the wedding couple at the end of the aisle for the first time. The choice is yours. It is a preference. Have the conversation to be prepared either way, so that we will be prepared, but you'll have a better understanding to make a decision based on, do we do the first look or do we not do the first look? Have that conversation with your significant other, deciding what's going to be in the best interest for the two of you guys, and then make a decision based on that. If you have any questions, if you're watching this video and you're undecided, put it down in the comments down below. If you're a photographer, videographer, and if you feel like this was a relevant video and conversation, and what do you normally do for your wedding couples? Comment down below. So remember to like the video. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. So, to first look or not to first look? That is the question. Peace.